Kuzusambo Tubatilehe. Good morning, dear children. So welcome to our class again. Though we do not see each other, hope that this lesson meets you with a good health, and then hope learning really takes place. So the topic that we'll be looking at is converting mixed fraction to improper fraction, and then vice versa, converting improper fraction to mixed fraction. Actually, this lesson we have covered, but why not take an opportunity to revisit it? So we are here revisiting our lesson again. So dear children, first of all, let's look at the types of fractions. So there are three types of fractional numbers. First one, proper fraction, improper fraction, and then mixed fraction. So let us look at some of the examples of proper fraction, that is 1 over 2, 3 over 8, and 4 over 7, which if we look at the fraction, we can see that numerators are smaller than the denominators. And some of the examples of improper fraction. So when we say improper, we can see that the numerators are greater than the denominators, like 3 over 2, 6 over 5, and 9 over 4. Then let's look at the mixed fractions. So when we say mixed fraction, we can see that a whole number plus a proper fraction is combined. So if you look at that, in mixed fraction, we can see there are two numbers joined together. A whole number is there and a proper fraction. And the only thing that we see in improper fraction is there is big top. So we have to remember that, a bigger number on the top. So every mixed fraction can be written as an improper fraction, and every improper fraction can be written as a mixed fraction. So if you look at the example, you see 1 whole and a half, which is a mixed fraction, and it is changed into improper fraction, that is 3 over 2, which means the same. Here the big cat says I am big, which means improper fraction, a bigger number on the top. Okay, now here we see 3 sets of pictures here. All rectangle, but they are in 3 different sets. So if you look at the first one, here in the first one we see a rectangle is divided into 6 parts, and then the first one is fully shaded, and if you look at the second part, we see 3 parts shaded out of 6. So what does it mean? It means 1 whole and then 3 out of 6 is shaded. So this is a mixed fraction. So we are looking at the picture and then we are trying to represent it using a mixed fraction. Now let's look at the second one. In the second one, we see a rectangle divided into 4 parts, and we can see that one rectangle is shaded whole for all the 4 parts, and the second, there also we see it's fully shaded, and when we look at the third rectangle, we see only 1 part shaded out of 4. So what does it mean? It means 2 whole and a quarter. Quarter means out of 4, 1. 1 over 4 is shaded. Now let's look at the third picture. So in the third one, we can see that a rectangle is divided into 8 parts, and from the 8 parts, we see that the first rectangle is fully shaded, and second, we see 4 parts shaded out of 8. So what would be the mixed number, mixed fraction? It would be 1 4 over 8. Awesome. Now, when we say mixed number, now I say that mixed number and then improper fraction, they mean the same, right? So how do we change it? How do we change mixed number to improper fraction? So how do we do? Here we can see a mixed number, that is 2 1 over 3. So the shape is always divided into 3 parts. So our denominator bottom number does not change. So denominator remains the same, which is 3. Then we have a formula, that is denominator multiplies with the whole number. 2 3 6, and then we add the numerator. 6 plus 1 equals 7. So there we go, we get our improper fraction. 2 whole and 1/3 is equal to 7/3, which means there are 1 over 3 7 times. 7 over 3. Okay, now let's try to represent our fraction. First, let's try to make it into a whole. So how many quarters do we think we need to make one whole? So 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters and 4 quarters. We already know that 4 over 4 will give us one whole. No problem, right? We know that. So we'll use this information to change our mixed number, mixed fraction into improper fractions. Okay, improper fraction. So we can see that there are 2 wholes, 2 3 over 4, which means 1 whole plus another whole plus 3 over 4. So this is our mixed fraction. So let's represent this first whole. So 1 2 3 4 quarters, which will give us one whole. And then let's represent the next one. 1 2 3 4, another whole. So we got our whole, 2 wholes. And then let's represent 3 over 4. That means we will be taking how many quarters? 3 quarters, right? 1 quarter, 2 quarters and 3 quarters. Now we are done. We have finished representing the quarters there. Now our aim is to change this mixed number into a improper fraction here. So now let's see. Or we have another style that we have already done, that is multiply the denominator and the whole. So that means 2 4 is 8 and 8 plus 3 will give us 11. So there we go, we got 11. And let's count the quarters below. 1 2 3 4. 4 plus 4 8. 8 plus 3 will give us 11. So there we have 11 over 4, right? Now let's try with one more example, that is using 1/5. So how many 1/5 do we need to make it one whole? That is 5, right? So 1 2 3 4 5. So 5 over 5 means one whole. That we know, right? That we already know. Now we are going to use this to change this fraction, mixed fraction, into a improper fraction. So there we see one whole. So how many 1/5 do we need to make it into one whole? Here the denominator is 5, so that's why we are trying to make one whole using 1/5. So here let's see, we have 1 whole plus we have 4/5, that means 4/5. Now let's make 1 whole. To make 1 whole, how many 1/5 do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5/5 will give us 1 whole. And then how many 1/5 do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 1/5. Now we are done here. We have finished representing the mixed fraction. Now what would be our improper fraction? Let's try using our formula, that is 5 times 1 gives us 5. 5 plus 4 gives us 9. That means 9/5. And we can also see that there are 5 whole, 5 1/5 plus 4 which gives us 9/5. Okay, so we have looked at converting mixed fraction to improper fraction. Now let's look at converting improper fractions to mixed fraction. So we have the concept, so it's always clear. So improper fraction means bigger number on the top, big one. Bigger numerator is greater than the denominator. So how many halves in a whole? How many halves do we need to make 1 whole? So 1 half and 2 halves gives us 1 whole, right? That you know. How many halves can I make out of 7 halves? Now there are 7 halves. 7/2 means 7 halves. So 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 wholes. So 7 halves, from 7 halves we can make 3 whole and 1 half is left out. So we get the mixed number there, 3 1/2, which means 3 whole and a half left. How many wholes can I make out of 7 halves? 3 wholes and 1 half left out, right? There we go. It's easy, right? It's super easy. Let's look at the next example. So 8/3. How many wholes can I make out of 8/3? 8/3 means 8/3. So we can make 2 wholes, and then how many thirds will be left? 2, 3, 6, 6. So again 2 thirds will be left over. So that is our mixed fraction. 9/5. How many wholes can we make out of 9/5? 1 whole and 4 left. 4/5 is left over. So let's look at some of the examples, converting mixed fractions to improper fractions. So 2 whole 1/3. So we can multiply the denominator with the whole number, that is 2, 3, 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. 7/3, 7/3, right? Then we see some examples here, we can look at it. So changing of mixed number to improper is always easier. I feel it's easy because I saw this in class where you all were really enjoying this converting of mixed to improper. Then changing of improper fraction to mixed fraction. So here if you know the division, that is always good. It's really helpful. And then if you can represent using model, that is also good. So here we see that 14/3, which means how many wholes can we make out of 1/3? We can make 4 whole 12, and then to balance 13, 14. How many 4s will go into 21? 5, 4, 20, and then 1 balance. How many 5 will go into 6? 1, 5, and then 1 remaining. How many 6 will go into 17? 6, 2, 12 whole, and then how many balance? 12. 17 minus 12 is 5. 1, 7, and then 2. 18, 8 to 16, 3 remaining, so 2, 3 over. And thank you so much, dear children. I have one more video where you can see how to convert improper fraction into mixed fraction using division method. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you so much. Have a good day. I'll be sending you one worksheet where you can practice, okay, and then submit in Google Classroom. So thank you so much.